Hello, and welcome back to Joe's Adventures. And today I wanted to create like a really fun little video. So what we're making today is a Jurassic World Evolution DLC video. So the tagline I'm going to say is DLC ideas and speculated roadmap until summer 2021. So this is like probably my own speculation slash what I'd like to see slash what other people want to see over the next year or so for Jurassic World Evolution before Jurassic World Evolution 2 comes out. So if we if we look back at our past releases here, we've had first we had the deluxe edition, which is dinosaur pack, added 5 new dinosaurs. And then we had Dr. Wu at the end of on November 2018, along with the Cretaceous dinosaur pack in December, so not too far apart. And then we had the Carnivore dinosaur pack near the beginning of the year. Then we had Century. And next we had the Herbivore dinosaur pack in September, along with the small Raptor Squad collection that was only just a month ago. And we just quite recently got Return to Jurassic Park. So based on this, we should be expecting 4 packs per year, with 2 smaller dinosaur packs, with 2 larger ones spaced out about every 3 months or so. They only got 2 from 2018 because the game came out halfway through the year in June, which is summer in the Northern Hemisphere in America. Jurassic World Evolution 2 would come out mid-2021 with Jurassic World 3, similar to how it came out with Fallen Kingdom, because obviously they want to tie the release of the game near where the movie's coming out to create the hype and get the most sales. And usually big blockbuster movies like that would come out in that summer of that time, so it should be around June, July, around there. So I don't think there'd be a pack coming so close to release of a new game. So I'm thinking we'll only get probably about 2 more story packs and maybe 3 more dinosaur packs, unless the rate changes next year, like we get another one for whatever reason. One thing also is that potentially smaller DLC or free editions like the Raptor Squad pack or Nasutoceratops, even the Fallen Kingdom update, could be added when other Jurassic Park media comes out, like Camp Cretaceous that's coming out next year. That was supposed to be Jurassic World 3, but whatever. Jurassic World 3, etc. And I'm not going to try and predict those because that would probably be a bit hard. Smaller updates could also be added features, so a lot of the stuff that's in these packs could be added as a feature and a free update. So a lot of this is more very general, so it's not gonna be I want this with this. It's just features and how you could probably realistically group them. And then a lot of the content that I put in this video and the next one, which I'm planning to do on the dinosaurs themselves, are based on ideas that I have and looking at the community, like on Discord and Reddit, and looking what other people like to see. So this is like kind of like a combo of that. And if you got something that you would like to see or you didn't get featured on here, I'd like to see you guys comment and tell me, and I might even put it in a video. I think that would be fun. Okay, so the next one we got. So I'm thinking just quickly we'll just do sandbox updates. I think we need instant incubation, just so we don't need to worry about especially for sauropods and large carnivores, don't need to worry about those long incubation times. And this one's a huge one for me, mixing the Jurassic World and Jurassic Park era buildings, so we can create like a true sandbox and have whatever we want. And buildings working without paths would be cool if you wanted to make something Site B like. And also terrain textures would also be really all the textures like shale would be on every island, and perhaps even more textures and just more terrain stuff would be cool to see. So now we're going to be moving on to first DLC pack. So here we have the Owen Grady Jurassic World DLC. Now I couldn't think of a good name for it, but we'll just carry on and see. The story is based around Owen Grady, the only Jurassic World movie character in JWE that without their own tie-in DLC, because Dr. Wu, who was in the campaign, got Secrets of Dr. Wu, and Claire got Century, but Owen Grady hasn't got anything yet. And I can't really think of a good plot for it, but I have some ideas with early missions pre Jurassic World 4, and then we'd have like missions with raptors, maybe introduce pack hunting, and then getting them to Lockwood Manor, like getting captured or going to Lockwood Manor, and then introducing new hybrids of dinosaurs in this pack. And the pack is like we get, and this the purpose of this pack is get a lot of the Jurassic World theme stuff missing from the base game. So we've got two new maps here. We got Jurassic World 2015. So this would be on Nublar. You would have all these new attractions that are added and like kind of introduce them to like more fun ratings and have more rides and such. I assume we'll have like a raptor pit somewhere in the corner there to do the missions with Owen Grady. And then we have Lockwood Manor, which is a mainland map in Northern California, and it would introduce any new hybrids or dinosaurs that they wanted to add in this pack. So let's go to the next one. So I'm thinking new objects we would have, because now we got in the Return to Jurassic Park, we got new lights and signs and things like that. It'd be cool if we got reskins for the Jurassic World theme, so we can get more decorations for them, along with like some bamboo plants. I think that would be really cool, because there's actually like bamboo forests in the website, and some cool statues like the Hammond statue, like the one with his cane, or this one here with him petting a dinosaur, holding a dinosaur for a child to pet, and also the Spinosaurus from the first movie would be also cool to see, because we have a skull of it, but we don't have a full one. Let's see, with new buildings and attractions, we could get like a golf course that could just be like a placeable building, like the Aviary or just any other buildings. Botanical gardens would be cool. You could have like a nice little garden that you could place down. Cretaceous Cruise, I think, would be a really awesome attraction. So you could like make rivers and have water gates that you can go around your park and have like a boat tour, similar to the riverboat in Planet Zoo, and you could have like a Jurassic Park version as well, because there was planned Jurassic Cruise as well. So that could be a good attraction that applies both to the Jurassic World style and Jurassic Park style. And then another cool thing to have would be the gondola, like similar to the monorail, just gives you more variety. Maybe you could even, well, gondolas are also in Planet Zoo, so a lot of these things would be cool to see. And now the Gentle Giant Petting Zoo would be cool for, we could have like, similar to the aviary, we could maybe breed baby dinosaurs. It would just be models or whatever. You could have like a young Jurassic Park, because we have all the dinosaurs that we have that we know are like Triceratops, Gallimimus, Apatosaurus, and other like young versions of dinosaurs we know in the franchise would be cool to see. Along with Paki Arena would be cool, even if it's just a decoration. It'd be cool to just have more attractions and see what that could have looked like. Along with the Raptor Paddock, similar to the Velociraptor pen in Return to Jurassic Park, that could just be either a mission thing or a decoration, but that would still be cool to see. IMAX theaters too, like it could have a huge fun rating, so you could have obviously play movies in your park. And hidden viewing areas would be cool, like the one in T-Rex Kingdom with redwood, and you walk in and you watch the dinosaurs. Something that you can put in the enclosure so that guests can go see animals. I think that would be cool. Also, the control room would be a cool decoration. And similar to restrooms, you could have first aid need. So if guests get injured or anything, they can go. It would work similar to the restrooms now, and then you could have like a JP version as well of a first aid room, like a just general first aid, not like a big hospital or something. So I think that could be cool. You could have dinosaur models and retextures. So I think would be really cool to have is similar in vein to Return Jurassic Park, just making a lot of new versions for dinosaurs that are already in the game. So this one, the art done by Julius Chitney, very famous paleo artist. It'd be cool to have more of his art already featured in the game, because we already have Suchomimus, Metriacanthosaurus that look and Edmontosaurus that look a lot like the art that was on the website. So it'd be cool to introduce art on the website that looks more like Parasaurolophus, Pachycephalosaurus, and Baryonyx. I think that'd be really cool to see. and then we could have like a Jurassic World Pteranodon with the Aviary, and an Apatosaurus remodel. Because if you look at the Apatosaurus in the game, it doesn't look quite like the one in the movies. It has way too fat feet, and I think the textures could use some improvements. And then I think there's some other cool things would be tying into Battle of Big Rock, because we already got the female Nasutoceratops. It'd be really interesting if we got a male version, because you see in the face is different, and he's got bigger horns, and nasal horns are a little spikier. So that would be just like model. That could be another skin slash model, like in Return Jurassic Park, and same with the Battle of Big Rock Allosaurus, which still looks a little different from the one we already have in game. It's a bit of a different face. It's a little skinnier, though I think that would definitely be cool to see. And a more accurate, because we had some concept art for Stegoceratops that was already for Jurassic World, but we didn't get a version in Doctor Wu that didn't exactly look like that. So I think it'd be cool if they introduced like a Jurassic World style Stegoceratops for the DLC, so we get something a little more accurate. And also we got some new dinosaurs. So with the introduction of compies, which are the smallest animals in the game now, it'd be cool if we got to see Microceratus, which is bigger than compy. And it'd be nice to have like a small herbivore like that, because the smallest herbivore at the moment is Homocephalae, and I think Microceratus is a similar size, if not smaller. So that would be interesting. Also, to add on to the aviaries, you could have a Dimorphodon, which is obviously in the first Jurassic World, and it would be interesting to have another animal use the aviaries and kind of like expand on that. So we could also have stuff that's already in the franchise, and maybe have them like do different loop animations. Like you could introduce 6 Pteranodons and maybe 12 or 10 Dimorphodons, and have different looped animations for them flying around together, and that could look quite interesting. And also the Mosasaurus, which a lot of people have been asking for, which has a pre-made tank similar to the aviary, and we could have like a feeding show animation with underwater viewing. I think that would be quite cool to see. And even though people think that the Mosasaurus would be too big, if you look at its size in the movies, it fluctuates quite a lot. So I could assume you could make it like its basic smallest size, which is like no longer than the Brachiosaurus, or even just a little bit bigger than a Brachiosaurus. So I think you could easily make it fit, because there's no really consistent size, because it just fluctuates so much. But anyway, let's see, new enclosures, we could have just a reskin of the aviary instead of having the more mesh from the Jurassic Park one. We could have a more glass and more trees and stuff like in the Jurassic World version of the aviary, which I think looks like quite a cool futuristic design. And you could also have the Mosasaur one. You could have a bunch of benches on one side of the enclosure with the shark, and you can have the animation of it jumping up and eating, along with the underwater viewing as well, so you could get different camera views. Similar to the aviary, we could have seeing the Mosasaur swim around and do stuff. I think that would be really interesting to see, because the Mosasaur is now an important part of the franchise, and it would be weird if it's left out just because of some mild technical reasons, even though we already have the aviaries, which was said was impossible. So it'll be interesting to see how that comes along. And here we have the free updates. This could either come with this or later, so I'm thinking maybe like a first person mode, because in the leaks that have been proven to be quite true across the board, there's believed to be a Elite Dangerous update that introduces a first person mode. So I'm wondering if they develop that, will that apply to the other games? Because I know people have been requesting it for Planet Zoo, Planet Coaster, and Jurassic World Evolution, so I think that would be really interesting. Also, a better grid placement, so you could better organize your park, so you can place everything in a perfect grid when you're building like main streets and such, so you don't get weird, wonky buildings. So it'd be easy to snap to grid and make better paths and such. Also, cow feeders would be interesting, just to give another level to the carnivores, because now we have like the herbivores have got paleo feeders and like different paleo plants, and just interesting to add on to that kind of development for the carnivores, because there's only the fish one and the goat one and the normal one. So it'd be cool to have more variation within the carnivores' diets. And a bunch of Jurassic Park / Jurassic World themed benches, bins, and fountains, just to add a bit more decorations to the parks that you already have, and even maybe guests can use them. So I think that would be really cool. So now we're moving on to the next story DLC, and I think you guys will like this. This is the one that probably I put a little bit more effort into, or just thought about a little bit more, because I have really good ideas for this one, and that is Return to a Lost World. So the story of this one is based on the 1997's The Lost World, the second movie, with some elements from Jurassic Park 3, because we don't have enough for Jurassic Park 3, and I think the story itself was so well contained within itself, it doesn't really have anything that really leaks out into other movies. So I think you could have some elements from that in there. So the first missions will be out studying the wild dinosaurs on Isla Sorna. Then some are captured and taken to Jurassic Park San Diego, where we go to rescue them, like as the player. We then bring, some of the spellings on here is, we then bring them back to Sorna and get them back to health and release them back out into the map. And it'd be really cool to have like a JP3 subplot with the Spinosaurus of a legal dinosaur clone. And so if there was any dinosaurs they wanted to introduce into this pack that weren't part of the original canon, because right now we basically have all the dinosaurs from the first movies. Like if they wanted to add anything new, you could use the illegal dinosaur cloning plot to introduce them. And what potential characters could we have? We could have Vince Vaughn coming back, or Julianne Moore, Peter Ludlow coming in for voicing the characters that were in The Lost World. I think that could be quite interesting, similar in the vein to how Sam Neill and Laura Dern and Ian Malcolm came back to voice their roles in Jurassic Park, Return to Jurassic Park. So the new maps here would be Isla Sorna 1997. So imagine this one, we could actually get a map that isn't with hills in it. We could have a big open map with free roaming dinosaurs. This one could be a new biome, so to speak. So we could have more temperate or boreal forests that look more like the Lost World instead of the more tropical that's already in the game. That's based more on JP1 and JP3. And this is where most of the story would be taking place, like in Return to Jurassic Park, because we spend most of our time in Return to Jurassic Park on Isla Nublar. And the missions will be studying the dinosaurs, taking pictures, doing things with them, and then we head back from San Diego and get these dinosaurs back to health and ready to release. So now we get onto Jurassic Park San Diego. It's a mainland map from San Diego, California. The dinosaurs will be sick and starving, and you have low welfare. Missions will be trying to keep them alive as you try and get them back out to Sorna. You might have to like sabotage and such. And the amphitheater would be part of the map, but I think it would be a really cool placeable. And we'll move on to new terrains and plants. So we'll have kind of like a new forest, new biome, so to speak. So we could have like a boreal forest, and we could paint more deciduous plants and such, so we can have a lot more pines and just make it look more like the Lost World rather than Jurassic Park. And we could also have ferns and the long grass, because it's kind of, if you look at the redwoods, they add like another verticality. It'd be interesting to have more variation within the grass, so we could have a longer grass, and plus it kind of ties into the story because you don't go into the long grass. And also we also have some plants and rocks. We could have a few more variations of pine trees that are placeable, give you like a new type of, similar to the redwoods, new type of plant to place around. Also some logs would be interesting to place in your enclosures, because I think the theme of this is a lot more about the wild, so this is a lot more themed about creating dinosaur enclosures and such, so a lot more natural stuff. So you could have logs in your enclosures that help give decorations with some variations, along with bushes, so you could have different bushes type that you can place in your enclosures, and just gives a little bit more decoration and customization to your park enclosures. And here we have new placeable objects. Now I'm thinking we could have a whole bunch of Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, not Jurassic World, Lost World Jurassic Park style vehicles. We could have like a placeable motorbike or the RV that the team uses to go and study the dinosaurs, along with different skins of the other vehicles that are used to catch the dinosaurs and such. Because if you look on there, there's quite a lot. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's potential 6 objects and 6 skins and such. So I think that would really give a lot of variation to the Jeeps that we have now. And also we could have base camp tents that we could be placeable and have some variations of that, like the main hub tent that was where they had the little compies. You could put compies in the cage and have a little animation there, and have like the setup that they used when they were broadcasting back to InGen, along with other tents that are used to sleep in. And we also have some more dinosaur cages. We could have those as little placeable decorations around. You could have like the ones in the concepts here for smaller dinosaurs, and then have one for like Stegosaurus and Triceratops and Parasaurolophus. And I think that would look quite interesting, along with the Rex one that's like more flat, meant to keep it from standing up. Something like that I think would be interesting. Also, I don't have a picture of this, but we could have like a high hide with a pre-made tree with the high hide hanging out. That could be a cool decoration to put in an enclosure, or just out cool decoration to put in your park. And also, like, yeah, the RV would be a nice placeable, so you could put it as a decoration somewhere. Move on to the next one. The new buildings we could get like an InGen compound, which is a lot more like the visitor center, which has the combined like research, fossil expeditions, and fossil things, so we can go and research our fossils. It'll obviously, this version here is very old and decrepit from Jurassic Park 3, but you could have a new version, and you'll be able to research everything from there and use it as like the hub, along with the workers village, which would be cool to use as a ranger team slash ACU units. So we could have like a more adding onto the theme, and also Jurassic Park versions of other Jurassic World buildings, like viewing vents and platforms, so we don't have to use the tracks. And then the greenhouse and monorails, shop variations that could be introduced in the San Diego map, etc., etc. And a few paths, we could have a wide version of the existing paths that we have in like cheap fancy paths, just a wider version like we have for Jurassic World, and the white path that you can see in the San Diego maps, especially in the concepts. So the new dinosaur remodels. Now these guys were kind of like left out from the Return to Jurassic Park roster, and a lot of fans have been really desperately calling them for them, myself included. So here we have Momentusaurus, which credit to the person who posted Reddit made it. It looks a lot different to the one in the already in game. It has a lot more of, it looks a lot more like Diplodocus. It's a lot longer tail. It's a little bit shorter, much more rounded back. So I think that would be cool to have something more accurate to the movies. Along with Dilophosaurus, I think it would use new textures and some new touch-ups, because a lot of the skins, it looks more accurate to the Jurassic World hologram rather than the one from the original movie. And also Gallimimus, because the Gallimimus is yuck. Like, the one from Jurassic World is yuck. So it'd be nice to see something more inspired by Jurassic Park's and the Lost Worlds versions. And more accurate 1997 Pteranodon, though we do have a skin in game. This is like a, if they want to expand it, there's already a skin in game that does look a lot like that, but a lot of it's obviously still has teeth, and it's more inspired by the Jurassic Park 3 one rather than this one. So I think that would be cool to have as an alternate skin for the Pteranodon. So I think some new skins and retextures that would be really interesting. The 93 Parasaurolophus, which has a really cool pattern. You can see it when you're the big shot, the Welcome Jurassic Park shot, where the Brachiosaurus come out of the lake, and then you see these Parasaurolophus at the bottom of the lake. It's not a good quality, it's very low poly models, but there's concept art in the visitor center, which most likely represents what they would have looked like in the flesh, and we can see it's got a lot more greenish with a bit of blue and red, and I think that's a really interesting skin that I think we got left out from Jurassic Park, Return Jurassic Park. And this 97/01 Triceratops in the corner here, which is more related to I don't think we need a new model for it because it's just a retrofitted Stegosaurus, but I think the skin itself would be really cool to have with the lighter grey and the darker grey on the back, along with the stripes going down the tail. You could just apply that to the 93 trike, and I think that'd be a really interesting skin. Also, one thing I think needs a retexture is the 97 Pachycephalosaurus, because if you look at the one in game, the skin is pretty accurate, but the textures just look really muddy. And if you look back at how the texture updates for the other animals have gone, and it just makes them look 10 times better. So if you manage to have one for this guy, I think that would be really awesome. And also, one that could use retexture is the Spinosaurus, because the Spinosaurus in Jurassic World Evolution has a really, really odd texture, and plus a lot of the skins are way too bright. You get too much contrast, and if you look at here, the one from the movie is a lot more dull, and like it wouldn't require even any model changes really. It just need to be just just a new skin and new textures for that one. I think that would be good. And also, lucky last would be the O1 Corythosaurus. The one in the one already in game is a lot duller. You could have a lot more of a greyish underside with the orange and a brighter crest. So this would also just be a skin, and I think that would be really awesome to see. Now I think the last one here. So dinosaur improvements. A lot of people have been really asking for these, so it'd be really cool to give my thoughts on what I think would improve the dinosaurs. So we'll start off first with dynamic hunting. This is something that's been really requested, so we don't get the simple turntable. We could have animals stalking and more dynamic fights, and along with more fighting animations. So Spinosaurus and other Spinosaurids could use their claws more. Different species could have slightly different animations. Frontier has been expanding on this with new species they add, but I think it'd be cool if they went back and gave certain species new animations and such. And one thing that would also be cool is defense animations. So if a sauropod can't defend itself now, so it's pretty much helpless to an Indominus or even Ankylodontus, which is a hybrid. It has a defense stat, but it doesn't fight. So I think it would be really cool if they were actually able to defend themselves, like with having kicking and tail slaps or raising up animations that could be used to defend, or even just to threaten other dinosaurs and make them think twice about attacking it. One thing that would also be cool would be mixed species herding, because the herding that we have now is only just between one members of the same species, so you could have like Pachycephalosaurus and Stygimoloch herding together, or Corythosaurus and Parasaurolophus, like in the movies they herd together. So it'd be really interesting to get these like herding improvements, so you would be able to have more dinosaurs move around together around your enclosures. I think that would fit well in this kind of update, considering it's wild dinosaurs. And also some improvements to herding, so that if your dinosaurs are wandered up too far from the animals, they can get lonely and then they rampage, and you wouldn't want that when it's supposed to be wild animals and sticking closer together so they don't wander too far away from each other. And we also have interspecific, which means within species social interactions, so you could have animals grooming each other, playing with each other, and things like that, just more to make them seem more alive. It's kind of similar to Planet Zoo, where you just have like animations where like they rub on each other or they'll call to each other instead of the weird socializing circles that they have. Another one here, we have species/group specific animations. So you could have more like just idle animations where they, for example, the iconic Brachiosaurus scene when it raises up. It'd be cool to have an animation like that for sauropods. Also, ceratopsians jousting with each other. So like Triceratops, they could have shoving matches and cool animations for that. While not affecting their needs, it's just something to make them feel a little bit more alive. Also, you could have ankylosaurs tail whacking each other, small carnivores climbing on top of fences, and different species specific display animations like Dilophosaurus, for example. We could have like a display and such. So just more incidental, small animations like that would just really bring them more alive. Along with just more idle animations, instead of just standing there, they might just flick a tail or scratch themselves, or just things like that. Just really simple little things like that. Small animations just bring out more life into these, just breathe more life into these dinosaurs. Also, another cool thing I would like to see is dung. While dung, if you look at how JPOG did it, it was just a pile of crap, and it was just there. It doesn't need to be like manageable, like with cleanliness, like in Planet Zoo, because I think that would be another thing to manage, and I personally wouldn't enjoy it. So I think it would be really interesting to just have it as a poo and maybe like a pooing animation, and that would be just also give a little bit like the dinosaurs. And I think one thing Frontier should also do is go back to some of their older dinosaurs and maybe give them some more retexturing, because some of the textures on the older dinosaurs are just meh. Like considering if you compare to the 1993 ones now, it's just so much better. Just go back and give, because most of the models are fine. It's just the textures could use a little bit more love and just become a little bit more detailed or be a little bit fixed and just be a little bit better, along with some resizes, because pretty much all the dinosaurs now are pretty much the same size. If they're like a ceratopsian, they're all pretty much the same size. Same with Tyrannosaurus and such, and the Hadrosaurs. It'd be really interesting if we got more size variation, so you see more of a difference between each individual species, rather than like have Hadrosaur and just different flavors of Hadrosaur. So it just pretty much make them like the Planet Zoo animals, because the Planet Zoo animals are a very good benchmark for how animals can feel alive in game, because it's probably like the best animals in a video game ever. So I think that concludes this part of the video. So I'll have a number 2 coming out soon, which will be about things like new dinosaur packs and dinosaurs that could be introduced in these DLCs or as free updates, or however Frontier wants to put them. I already have the list set up, I just need to make a presentation for it. And as always, I would like to hear what you guys think of this video. Hopefully you guys like and subscribe, and bye bye.